Hey guys, Veebat here with another V-Plays, and I am taking out the Key 84 at Tier 7. Normally I tell you guys I don't like Japanese turn fighters, but this is going to be a bit of a change. The Key 84 is going to be an aircraft that starts to get more into that mid-altitude regime that we all know I kind of like. I like the Levechkin line, and this is going to be kind of in that same type of altitude bracket. We're going to get a bit more altitude, a bit more airspeed, and the firepower is absolutely outstanding with 230s and 220s. This thing can chunk down a lot of light fighters fairly quickly. We're not getting a ton of airspeed, but we're getting enough to be able to motor around the battlefield. Come on, there it is. I'm getting a little bit of lag on my inputs here, but we're going to try and assist our team in capturing this site initially, so that way they hopefully aren't too distracted from getting the mine. There's those good hits. Let's get another good pass in here. We have really tight turning on this aircraft. It's gonna be like a 8 and some change turn time, which is going to be a lot more reminiscent to what we saw with like the Spitfires and stuff. And again, we get that good altitude performance. Now we are going up against a Yak-9U and a Yak-9 human-controlled aircraft. So that is going to be a bit of difficulty for me because I am still a Japanese light fighter. You can see the hit points here aren't necessarily a huge number. It's going to be a pretty low number. So it's going to be a little bit difficult to engage those aircraft if I don't get the jump on them initially. I'll be able to outturn them, but if they get their guns on me, I'm just going to be a puff of machine parts floating through the air. We do have a human ground attacker on our team. I would like to think he's coming this way. No, he's at the airfield. Okay. I do not like sucking up tail gunner fire. I can tell you that much right now. So we're going to be a little bit careful. This is a Japanese light fighter, and it just will get hammered. But like I said, we have decent burst damage with these 30s, and just look at the hit points melt as we close distance and bring those guns to bear. So we can do it, and that's something I don't think I would have really ventured to do in the previous Key aircraft. The Key 61 not too bad, but like a Key 43, I definitely wouldn't be going up against like a PE2 or anything like that. I would have just gotten decimated. There we go. We got some good hits in on the PE2 initially there. Let's see if we can get some more. Oh, look at that. Chunk, and gone. There's an IL-10 over here. I don't want to eat his tail gunner either, but I'm willing to bet you we'll be able to get some good hits in. As long as he doesn't kick that nose up at us. Gotta be careful. The 30s on this, while they do pump out a bit of damage, they overheat very quickly and aren't the most accurate guns in the world, but there we go. Close the distance. Oh, that was easy to kill. Alright, let's head to the mid and dogfight a little bit. Hornet threatening my bomber. Can we get in range? There we go. So there's actually going to be an event this weekend for getting Japanese aircraft at a discount, so I figure we might as well do one of these videos. We're watching that Yak-9. He wasn't paying attention to us. That was a danger for him. He should have just one-shot me. That would have been his best move. Maintaining this zone is going to be critical for us, so let's see what we can do to keep these guys out of our sector. We got some good hits. 20s lit the fire, 30s did the crits. Let's come back around and do it again. And just look at those hit points melt away. This is a very dangerous aircraft, and Specialized it's even worse for the enemy. Because again, it has that maneuverability and it falls into that mid-altitude bracket. I've seen flights of these aircraft absolutely destroy in matches. Especially when they combine their firepower together, because man, they hit like a Jawa when they're working together, because you're getting 4 30s and 4 20s on a target. Imagine killing that aircraft twice as fast. LA9RD. Okay, let's go for a head-on. Got him. There is a bomber coming in, PE2. Look out for the head-ons from him. We got a little bit of frame loss there, so let's come back in from a different angle. Letting those guns cool off is critical. If you try to just overheat the guns all the time, you'll find that the guns aren't consistent and you'll be cursing your life. We ended up picking up the other garrison as well. The enemy's putting a lot of effort into defending the airfield, as they should. Don't want to get shoot up by the tail gunner here. If we go underneath him, we'll actually be outside of the arc of fire of his tail gunner. And we'll come back in from the side. And Akamatsu. We are killing lots of ground attackers. This really wasn't what I was planning on doing, but I think I end up flying a lot of my aircraft in like a couple of different ways. Either boom and zoom, or I fly kind of sneaky low altitude stuff. So I'll fly aircraft like this relatively turny mid-altitude fighter, end up flying it more like a altitude fighter. Whoo! Feel like we just had a close encounter there. Hey, you know what? You can have it, Art. That's fine. That's fine. I don't have a boost cooler or anything, so I'm not going to be able to chase that guy, but I can do this. Like I said, we can throw ourselves up to higher altitude episodically. I see you. Oh, again. This guy's going for it. Let's get down to our typical airspeed here. Man, just... I felt it. I felt it from here, the damage output. Getting a little bit aggressive on those passes. We got pretty close. Managed to pull off 15,000 personal points. We'll throw out the GG. For any of you guys that actually have this aircraft, I think you'll know what I'm talking about with the jack of all trades. Like, this thing is hitting that threshold where you start to feel like you can influence the battlefield a lot more. We're able to pull off a McCampbell, an Akamatsu, Conqueror. We also got Wing Legend. And, you know, we were consistently taking out bomber aircraft. The A-26B has some pretty decent hit points, not a ton, but pretty decent hit points, and the tail gunner typically would shred any Japanese fighter that tried to engage it. But we were able to pump out 8,000 damage, guys, 8,000 damage, and primarily against bombers and ground attack aircraft. We killed 4 bombers, 3 attack aircraft, and 1 heavy aircraft, and then some other airframes as well. And we were able to defend that mine very effectively. We ended up getting 160 while defending and 310 capture points on the offensive. Both zones we went into, we managed to secure, and we held that mine with a Japanese light fighter. But again, the altitude performance is going to be much better than what we saw with the predecessors. Sure, the Key 61 starts to kind of come into its own a little bit. Pull up the datas here. Pull up all the datas. So, unlike the Zeros, which, I mean, they do get incrementally better, these really make a bit of a jump. So you see here, altitude performance, about 5,000 feet, 6,000 feet, 7,200 feet. So you're getting big jumps in the overall altitude performance. And again, the gun armament, 470 damage per second on a tier 7 aircraft is like heavy fighter type damage output. It can pump out quite a bit. And the combination of the 20s with the 30s allows us to be able to get that added benefit of fire chance and heavy crit hits. You got to burst fire them, and you got to pay attention to when you're hitting the trigger. But yeah, they're pretty strong. The Key 61 does get the option to upgrade to 20s as well as 50 cals, and you still kind of get the same guns when you get to the Key Ki-94-2 ends up getting the 230s and the 220s as well. However, they're all mounted in the wing. Getting the 220s mounted in the cowling gives you a little bit more consistency from the Ki-84. So yeah, the Ki-84 guys, I highly advocate taking advantage of the event that's going to be going on this weekend to try and get some of your Japanese fighters at, it's going to be all the Ki line, but getting some of those Ki aircraft, you're going to find that the Ki-84 is an absolute keeper. When I went down the Japanese tech tree, I stopped at the Ki-43-2, and I just gave up because I hated not having altitude performance, I hated low airspeed, and I just felt like I was constantly getting boom and zoomed. So I ended up taking the route of the Japanese heavies when they came out, and then worked my way over to the Jawa and the Ki-94-2. But a lot of my viewership said, you know what, V, you really need to get a Ki-84. You're missing out, you're missing out, you're missing out. And I finally picked one up, and I just struggled through these other two aircraft, maybe use some free XP, and I haven't looked back. This is going to be an aircraft that sits in my hangar as a go-to aircraft for flighting up with a buddy that's doing tier 7 and we're having a tough time. If he's grinding his tier 7, I'll flight up with him, and I'll fly this as my kind of tip in the scales go-to aircraft to be able to do what you saw in this battle here. I did this recording cold, guys. I picked up the plane, I threw it into a battle, and this was the result. And it's because the aircraft is a very consistent platform. So I do wish you luck on the event this weekend. Look out for these things because there are probably going to be a lot of Japanese Ki aircraft floating around, but the 84 is going to be devastating. It's still thin skinned, so if you can still boom and zoom it fairly effectively, but look out for it because it can outturn you. It can be in places where you are. It'll chase you around, and it has the firepower to just crush you if you're not paying attention. So look out for them. And I hope you guys enjoy the video. I'll catch you on the next one.